college baseball is, I feel like they're on the top of their game in terms of how hyped everybody is to be back and be playing. It's all very exciting. Fingers crossed we're going to be in Omaha this year with our store and stuff. Super hyped about that. What are your thoughts on it? How do you think it's been going?
I think college baseball has been trending, and it goes back to the game a couple of years ago where the guy's cursing at the other dude as he's walking off the field.
Oh yeah,
and
the Louisville guy.
And they're really getting into it. Mm-hmm. And there's emotion and there's drama, and that's what you get in college basketball. And now the pro game is better, like sport, right? The people are better at it,
right?
College, you're starting to get that same thing where they're building stories. Mm-hmm. You're building more competition. You're building stories. You're allowing, like you said in a couple episodes ago where you were talking about you wanted to change the jerseys more often. I feel like college baseball, you have more jersey types. Guys try different things. Yeah. People put themselves out there. It's again, college baseball wants people to show up and watch, right?
Yep.
And that's why so many people show up in Omaha is because it's fun.
Yes.
And it's centered around fun. So why do you think that doesn't get carried into MLB?
I think for a couple reasons. I think it has to do with culture within each team. As you transition into the pros, right? You go through the minor leagues. Everyone's kind of there to get theirs and move up the ranks and make it to the bigs. There's not a ton of culture within the teams. Yeah, they might have some camaraderie and enjoying playing together, but they're not there because they want to win for the Rubber Ducks or whatever minor league team they're on. And then when you get to the majors, right? Like it's kind of the same thing. There are some teams that gel a little more and have good culture, and that creates more excitement, more fun. You saw with the Twins. I think it was last year they had this whole team robes, and it was all very it was cool. Like they all enjoyed being together, and they wanted their team to win as much as they wanted themselves to win. And I think that's what you get out of college baseball, and even in the younger levels, kids want to win for their team. And I think that kind of it gets lost in transition a little bit as you make it to the pros.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to also, like, does the team have fun, right? So, like, using the NFL again, like, the years ago, Atlanta Falcons had the Dirty Birds, right? And everybody got excited by, the dancing and this and that, and then the team had a hot streak, and people get excited. Then you look this year, you have the Buffalo Bills, #Bills Mafia, right? The Bills Mafia shows up nationally. They're donating. They're doing all this stuff. And the team is supporting that. And then you look at something like the Mets with LFGM.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And the team supports that a little bit more now.
Yep.
And now that creates a little bit of, hey, we're having some fun.
Yes.
But like the love of the game and everything else, college would transfer better if it was also that the elite baseball player in college transferred to the MLB faster.
Yes.
What do you think on that?
I definitely agree. That's why I said I think the minors is really a huge gap, because you get into the minor leagues and now you have to humble yourself and get back to work because you need to get to the bigs, and it's this whole journey. And kids, I'd imagine there's a lot of great players who lose their, I love the game.
Their edge.
Their edge, yeah. And I think it's unfortunate because you get kids who are just the most hyped dudes in college. Like there's people they have like the turnover chain and things like that where they just they love it. It's exciting. It's what they're all about. And then you transition to this like mid level where there's no real. It's just about work. It's not really that exciting, and it gets lost a little bit, and it's sad.
Yeah, and I think like minor league baseball takes itself too seriously also. And we've discussed this in the past. Like, how do you have more fun at those games? Like, you go to those stadiums, they're doing giveaways, they're doing all this stuff. Like, it's about entertaining a fan.
Yeah.
So you get these local fans who really love a player, but then you don't carry that relationship into the show. So how do you take the minor league team and bring that persona along the way, right? Like your AAA team, like whoever it is, like. How do you take that AAA team's persona, the fan base, and give them more connection to the MLB club so that they enjoy that transition back and forth? There's a reason.
Right.
And that's teams just not wanting to put in the time and effort on something that they think doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like we know content matters.
Yes.
We have a podcast right now, right?
Yep.
Or everybody here who watches and follows us on Instagram, like our content, what we put out, the things we do, the stories we tell, that's what it goes. ESPN is built on more and more content, right? So why would a team not create more content about themselves?
Yeah.
And I think if teams were to start to do that, the game will get better.
Yes. And something I think that's a good thing in this aspect is the fact that they are trimming down the minors a little bit. You're going to have less people. There's going to be less turnover with guys. People are going to get to know them more. They might be in the minors for a little while, but it'll be the same people. They'll have more affection to the teams that they're on and what they stand for and kind of how much they gel with the fans.
Do you think a guy who went to 3 years of college shouldn't be allowed to go to the lowest level?
I think an argument can be made for that. There are a lot of guys in rookie ball, for example, who are 18 who've been playing against maybe good high school pitching, but not great high school pitching. They haven't faced an elite level of competition. And I think there's definitely some disparity between your rookie ball guys and your kids who get drafted after playing 3 years at Vanderbilt. There's definitely some difference there, and I think they should be moved up a little faster because of that experience.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I hate is you have a kid who gets drafted out of high school, he's 17 years old, and he decides to sign, goes directly to the same level as a guy who was just in the midst of his redshirt sophomore year at Vanderbilt and was a top prospect and was also, and they're both going to the same level. And it's like, they're not the same level. Why are they there?
Yep.
You know, and occasionally you'll see that guy, oh, well, it's just a stop, and then he'll bump up, and then, and it used to be, like you're saying, congested in the minor leagues. I just think they should flat out be, if a guy played in college, he doesn't get to go to that level. Keep that as your developmental league. Allow those guys who are high school or international signings to have their level, because now those guys have longer that they don't have to be in the picture. But if you take a college guy, you bury him on that level, now he disappears for more years.
Yeah.
If you immediately are like, hey, you're going to be high A or double A right out of college, you get to hop in, and immediately I can see the light. You're a hot streak away from the show.
Yeah.
Right? So now I can carry that. So I would say I hope that a lot of these rule changes that have happened, the MLB actually leans into, which I'll give them credit about some stuff. They've been doing a better job this offseason of promoting players.
Yes.
Have you noticed that?
Yes, I have, for sure. And I love it. They're really, I think they're kind of starting to recognize that, hey, our young stars need to be pushed more. And I think that's something that we'll see more of as we get more younger and younger guys starting to come into the big leagues. They're bringing that culture shift with them of, hey, like, let's get hyped about playing the game versus the old school way of thinking of put your head down and play ball.
But how much do we think that the old school guy, the throwback 31-year-old guy who's been in the league for a while now, who doesn't want that, right? Is he going to say, hey, this is how my team runs?
It's a great question, and that's why I think it's going to be a little bit of a waiting game still in terms of that culture shift, where once those guys start aging out, then we'll can start seeing more and more big leaps towards like what we're talking about as the new way of baseball.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Baseball lifestyle, it's my lifestyle.